welcome to episode 3 of Rapid7 in 7. Last time we discussed the differences between being compliant versus being truly secure. In today's episode, we are talking about observability. DBS, thank you once again for joining. How often have we not heard the whole phrase, you don't know, you can't protect what you can't see, right? So how important is observability in today's environments?
You can't protect what you can't see and what you don't know about. And so observability, if we think about a kind of pyramid that goes up to maybe response or action as the top of that pyramid, you can't build that pyramid without having observability as that absolute key foundational layer. So it's so important, but also it can be quite difficult.
Okay. So on that then, what are the key challenges that businesses face when trying to make their ecosystems observable?
The rate at which cloud services are being released within CSPs, and like there are legitimate use cases for having multi-clouds in an environment. Like you might want to use GCP for some services, you might want to use Azure, OCI, AWS, Ali. Like you really might need to use all of these. And so like the fact that they all kind of speak a slightly different language, they call things which might seem common to us different names. You know, we've got EC2s, we've got VMs, we've got Blob, we've got S3. So like it becomes really, really tough to even maybe know what we're thinking about. If we're thinking more from a security lens, we've got the kind of prevalence of a lot of these vendors and a lot of providers potentially which are looking at, because information is difficult to get out of the cloud, doing things by snapshots. And so we might only get 1 or 2 views of our cloud environment and have to assess our risk against that static view. We might only get 1 or 2 views out of our cloud environment per day. So like look for stuff which is real time. This is really, really important. And look for stuff which, you know, if we saw it last year at AWS reInvent, the focus on AI, generative AI and LLM services like Bedrock, like SageMaker, and like, so if, you know, you've got your CEO that's tuned into AWS reInvent and said, hey, like how can these affect our business? You need to partner with like observability and security vendors that have understanding of these services at the pace that they're being released.
So keeping up with the changes effectively, and then keeping up with or understanding the different languages, phrases that are being used. Can you give us some practical steps that teams can take then to make their systems a bit more observable? Yeah,
absolutely. So we need to accept that environment complexity in the cloud is quite high. Like there are many reasons and good practices to have many accounts, to have many identities, to have shared identities. So we need to basically be looking at the cloud in terms of hierarchically from like the right at the top of that organization. And kind of as we spoke about earlier, we need to have a good understanding of all of the different service types which are available in cloud. You know, like there will be a glut of security partners out there that can tell you when an S3 bucket is misconfigured, but like that's also one of the best known, and we've used the example even in this series, but that's one of the best known examples really of like doing security within the cloud. And so like you need to look for that high, 100% really, but that high percentage of service coverage, and also something that's not going to be a blocker to new service adoption, or actually that maybe could streamline it. We have a use case for XYZ service from Azure or whomsoever the cloud service provider is. How quickly can we understand how this contributes to our risk posture? And one of our product owners in cloud security in Rapid7, at that reInvent that we spoke about last year, they did a hackathon, so that within kind of 72 hours, maybe 5 days of reInvent, we had a full AI and machine learning Rapid7 best practices security pack deployed to any customers that were using our cloud security product. And it's that agility and responsiveness to the market and to trends, which I think, of course, this is a Rapid7 show, spoiler alert, or should I say plug alert? Yeah, there you go. But like, this is something which we're really, really strong at. We have very, very responsive engineering teams to market movements and extremely deep relationships with CSPs to allow us to understand risk and good practice when it comes to new services. And real time.
And I guess that applies to non-cloud environments as well, right? Because to your point, like, there are so many vendors out there. There's so many use cases for non-cloud security risk management as well, right? Where we need to just make sure that we are reconciling all of these different vendors, all of these different languages, to your point earlier, right? Making sure that we are creating that common ground to better understand.
And almost in talking about cloud security in isolation, I'm creating a silo.
Yeah.
Or
I wasn't going to call you out.
Yeah. Like the paradigm of a silo. Like, are we doing cloud security like this, or are we doing environmental or attack surface security like this? And actually, again, plug alert. At Rapid7, we have complete integration in that whole environment visibility and taking in third parties. So although we're focusing on cloud security slightly because maybe it's a dynamic and interesting and sexy environment, you can't think about cloud outside of the context of the security or the attack surface of the organization. And again, like, we're kind of being coached as security buyers or practitioners that cloud security lives separately. But like, we've seen this before. It needs to be integrated into organizational process so that we can give it a consistent view with other risk management that we're doing. And so if a CISO or if a CEO says, hey, what are our top risks in the environment? We can't say, okay, well, we've quantified these cloud risks over here, and it's in a proprietary schema, and we know how bad they are in relation to each other. And then we've got the rest of the environment in our data centers and our campus networks here, and these are this bad, but ne'er the twain shall meet. So you're creating real pain for yourself if you're not looking at the environment in its entirety.
David, thank you so much for today. That was a wrap on episode 3. Join us for the 4th episode, where we will be talking about quantifying risk and how poor risk quantification can lead to misallocated resources and heightened exposure within your environment.